After a weekend away, Tiffany felt a mix of anticipation and exhaustion as she approached her front door. The house seemed strangely quiet. Entering cautiously, she noticed a subtle tension in the air. As she walked down the hallway, the sight of her bedroom doors closed caught her off guard. An uneasy feeling crept over her, suspecting that something was amiss. Taking a deep breath, Tiffany cautiously turned the doorknob, preparing herself for whatever might be on the other side. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Tiffany and Mark Adams had been married for over a decade, and they always knew that they would be together until each one of them was old and gray. They had 2 children, and they were dedicated and protective parents. However, although Tiffany and Mark were together for such a long time, it didn't mean that they couldn't have fun without each other. Tiffany and her girlfriends usually had a girls' getaway every 3 months. It was something that Tiffany would look forward to. It was her time to get away from being a busy mom and wife, and this time was no different. She was a day away from her weekend getaway, and she made a list of instructions for her husband and kids to abide by. She filled the freezer with ready-cooked meals for them and made sure that the children didn't skimp on their household chores. However, she knew that she could rely on Mark to hold the fort while she was away. Little did Tiffany know that Mark would be doing a bit more than that. What was Mark up to? As soon as Tiffany waved goodbye to her family, she had no idea that when she would arrive back home, her whole life would be changed forever. She had been going through a stressful time in her life, and her marriage seemed to be rocky at times. It was Tiffany's best friend Samantha who suggested that they have the trip a bit earlier than the usual 3-month wait. Tiffany had been struggling with work, stress, and having to go home and take care of the household, and her 2 children had taken an emotional toll on her, not only mentally but physically as well. That's why her friends had arranged special spa treatments for Tiffany to relax and enjoy. But she had no idea what was waiting for her when she got back home. As she was getting ready for her back massage, Tiffany decided to call Mark to check on how everything was going on the home front. Things started getting strange from then on. "Hey honey, how's it going over there with you and the kids? Is the house still in one piece?" Tiffany joked. However, she was very surprised by what her husband would say next. "Hey, yeah, everything is still standing. I suppose it's because the kids aren't here. They wanted to sleep at your mom's place, so I dropped them off," Mark replied. Upon hearing that, Tiffany was taken aback. To her knowledge, the children wanted to stay home and play video games. At least, that's what they told her. She said goodbye to Mark and decided to call her mother to say hello to her children. But the more she spoke to her children, the more surprises were in store for her. "Hi, Mom. Yeah, Dad dropped us off. It's so boring here, Mom. There aren't even games here for us. We want to go home, but Dad said he was going to be busy," her son Michael complained. Tiffany was very confused. She couldn't understand why her husband would be busy all weekend. She knew that sometimes he would have his friends over, but not for the whole weekend. She was surprised that he didn't even mention it to her while they were on the phone. She didn't mind that he needed some time to himself, but something didn't add up for her. With a growing sense of unease, Tiffany hung up the phone, her mind racing with thoughts of what could be happening at her house. Despite the surface of their marriage appearing solid, Mark had long been battling frustration. After a heated argument, Mark joined a friend at the bar. Amid the laughter, he felt briefly free. Though tempted, he stayed loyal that night, earning admiration from a workmate who understood him more than his own wife. The bar became a regular escape, where alcohol and companionship numbed his frustration. A connection blossomed with Elise, a woman who listened and respected him everything Tiffany no longer did. Elise was kind, validating, and never belittled him. Mark, drawn to her warmth, couldn't help but compare her to Tiffany. The contrast only deepened his dissatisfaction. Eventually, Mark visited Elise. A cozy dinner and a bottle of wine led to laughter and more. For the first time, he felt something he hadn't in years. It felt like freedom. Returning home, Mark rushed to the shower, trying to wash away the guilt. Tiffany noticed nothing different, but Mark felt the weight of his betrayal. The next morning, Tiffany woke up with a knot in her stomach. Mark had been distant, and whispers of infidelity had begun to surface. She couldn't ignore it any longer. Scrolling through her phone, Tiffany discovered incriminating messages. Her hands trembled as she read them. Rage replaced disbelief. She wasn't going to confront him lightly. She would catch him red-handed. Mark, her husband of 10 years, had been cheating on her with a woman she knew all too well, Elise, a mutual friend. The revelation hit her like a freight train, and she couldn't shake the relentless waves of disbelief and betrayal. Storming into the kitchen, Tiffany found Mark calmly sipping coffee. "Mark, we need to talk," she said, her voice strained. He looked up, feigning innocence. "Talk about what, Tiff?" "Don't play dumb. I know about you and Elise," she snapped, tossing the proof onto the table. Mark's face went pale. "Tiffany, it's not what you think," he stammered, but the lies were too familiar. Accusations and denials flew back and forth, the air heavy with tension. Over the following days, Tiffany struggled to find clarity. Mark continued, denying everything, twisting reality and planting seeds of doubt. Consumed by turmoil, she turned to the one person she could trust, her mother. "Mom, he swears it's not true, but it doesn't feel right," she confessed. Her mother, calm and firm, responded, "Sometimes the truth hides in plain sight. Trust your instincts. If it feels wrong, it probably is." Torn by uncertainty, Tiffany wrestled with her thoughts. "But what if I'm wrong?" she whispered. Her mother looked her in the eye. "You're not. Deep down, you already know." Desperate for answers, Tiffany confronted Elise, hoping for clarity. "You need to stop accusing Mark. We're just friends," Elise said, feigning innocence. But Tiffany saw through the act. The web of lies only deepened her heartbreak. Still holding on to hope, Tiffany arranged a meeting with Mark in the park. Surrounded by falling leaves, she pleaded, "Mark, I can't live like this. Tell me the truth." Mark sighed, showing a rare moment of softness. "I've made mistakes, but I love you." Then he looked away. "You're imagining things," he muttered, dodging accountability once more. Unable to bear it, Tiffany confronted Elise again. "Don't lie to me. I need the truth." "I didn't mean for it to happen," Elise admitted quietly. "It just did." The admission shattered the final pieces of Tiffany's trust. Confused, hurt, and exhausted, she sought the help of a therapist. "Do you trust Mark?" the therapist asked gently. The silence that followed spoke volumes. Over the next few weeks, Tiffany weighed her options, rebuild or walk away. Late one night, she confronted Mark again. "I need the truth. All of it." Cornered, Mark finally broke. "Yes, there's someone else, but it's not what you think," he said, trying to soften the blow. But the damage was done. Now fully aware of the betrayal, Tiffany faced the painful decision ahead. Could she forgive, or was it time to move on? In a surprising moment of honesty, Elise approached her. "I never meant to hurt you, but maybe facing the truth will help you find the strength to do what's right." Tiffany was left to navigate the wreckage. Her emotions ran deep, anger, sadness, but also a growing sense of resolve. "I can't keep living a lie, Mark. I deserve more than this," she said firmly. Her mother, ever-present and wise, offered one final truth. "Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is let go, and when you do, you'll find the strength to rebuild." In the climax of Tiffany's story, the suspense reached its peak. Would she choose to salvage the fragments of her shattered marriage? Or would she forge a new path, untethered from the lies that had bound her for far too long? With tear-stained cheeks, Tiffany stood at the crossroads, her heart echoing with the weight of a decision that would shape the chapters yet to come. Mark, remorseful and desperate, begged for forgiveness. But it was too late. Tiffany had already made up her mind. She filed for divorce and sought full custody, determined to protect her children from the emotional wreckage. That resolve was quickly tested. Their eldest, Emily, lashed out. "If you were a better wife, Dad wouldn't have left," she accused, too young to understand the complexities behind the split. Her words pierced deeper than Mark's confession ever had. Tiffany tried to hold it together, but her children, confused and hurting, struggled to cope. Thomas, the youngest, insisted he wanted to live with Mark. "He didn't do anything wrong," he said with innocent certainty. The custody battle intensified. In court, Tiffany stood strong, guided by her love for her children and a fierce determination to protect them. Despite Mark's silence and absence from key moments, his influence on the children lingered. Still, Tiffany pushed forward. Therapy and the support of close friends helped her gather strength. Her career began to thrive. For the first time in years, she felt herself again not just as a mother or a wife, but as a woman rebuilding from ashes. Eventually, the court ruled in her favor. She was granted full custody. It was a win, but a bittersweet one. The relationship with her children was strained. They couldn't yet see what she had fought through on their behalf. But over time, something shifted. Emily began to recognize her mother's pain, and little by little, understanding began to replace resentment. The healing had started. Tiffany had walked through fire and emerged stronger. Though scars remained, she knew she had done what was right, not just for herself, but for her family's future. Mark's betrayal no longer defined her. It had shaped her, but it hadn't broken her. Though the path ahead remained uncertain, Tiffany's resolve never wavered. She walked away from the wreckage of her past with her head high, ready to embrace a new beginning. The unraveling had left wounds, but it also revealed her strength. And as she stepped into her future, she did so on her own terms, resilient, fearless, and free.